Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Gloria and thank you so much for clicking on today's video. Today I wanted to go through some plants that are recently, rotted, which is very unfortunate, but these things happen, especially if you're working with leca, with moss, with whatever medium, and yeah, you just have to come to accept it and move on and learn from it. So I wanted to share my mistakes with you guys, just so you guys can get an idea and hopefully not make the same mistakes as me. Before we get started, make sure you subscribe to my channel so you don't miss out on any of my new videos, and yeah, let's just jump right into today's video. Okay, so I just wanted to have a disclaimer that I'm not perfect, I make mistakes, I'm learning as I go, and don't take every single thing I say as like the golden rule, because I'm still learning myself as a beginner plant parent, and these are just the things that happened to me. So recently I was really busy with work, and with that it comes with a little bit of neglecting of your plants or just not catching things fast enough, which is what happened with a few of these plants. I have all of these in semi-hydro right now, so they're all currently growing and living in leca, which are just like these clay balls that wick up water from the water reservoir to its roots. So the first one I wanted to show you guys is my sad Cebu Blue. So this is my pothos now, and it literally is just in a jar of water with like floating particles, because I don't even know, like there's just so many things going on with this. And recently I discovered that some of the leaves were yellowing. It used to look so nice and full, and there were lots of long little vines, and it was just very beautiful. But now obviously, as you can see, so many leaves are yellowing. Literally the plant is like limp. There's zero roots, not a single root in sight. I've essentially rotted all the roots in leca, and this was my own mistake because I accidentally once filled the water reservoir too high, and it just like rotted the roots, and it slowly spread to literally all the roots. And by the time I finally caught it, which was really late, there were no roots left, and that's just my own fault. I was too busy, I neglected my plants, and this is what happens. You cannot be lazy with your plants. You can't think that, oh, let me just fill the water a little bit higher than usual so that it's watered for longer. You can't do that. It's essentially the same as keeping the soil wet for too long. But I still have hope because I still have quite a lot of green leaves still, and I'm sure some will root, if not majority. I don't know. If they all die, I will obviously be very sad, but this tends to happen with more difficult pothos as opposed to just your regular standard old marble queen or golden pothos. But the Cebu Blue tends to rot pretty easily. I know a lot of people struggle with this one. I personally found it really easy in the past, but I'm learning from my mistakes, and this is why my poor Cebu Blue has suffered from root rot in leca. Okay, moving on, I also tried to recently transfer my beloved Philodendron El Choco Red to leca. It was a horrible mistake, and I obviously want to have all my plants eventually in leca, but I probably just did this too fast, and once again I didn't let the roots dry fast enough, and I just filled the water reservoir too quickly after I transferred it, which essentially rotted the moss roots. And now I've lost one leaf. I'm not too sad about it because when I did check on the plant a couple days ago, there were a bunch of root tips that were growing, and they were fresh root tips, so it's just a matter of time before it gets adjusted to the leca. So you definitely can't speed up the process with transitioning your plants to leca. It's better to get your moss roots at least acclimated to water before you stick it straight into leca. I mean, you don't have to, but that definitely makes it easier, and you can kind of keep an eye on the roots, because I left mine in leca for about a week before I checked up on it, and by then all the moss roots have rotted. So this basically is a very short-rooted plant right now, and I just have to give it time. But my beloved Philodendron El Choco Red did suffer a little bit of root rot due to my laziness, essentially. So that's plant number 2. The other couple plants, I don't really know what happened, and it just kind of did its own thing. I'll just show you guys. So the next one I want to show you is my Hoya Memoria. So this one, I essentially got this maybe about like 6 to 8 months ago from a friend. It was rooted in moss, and it was doing really well, and I just planted it into soil. It rotted in soil, and I transferred it to leca, which it then rotted in leca eventually after growing really great roots and shooting out some new leaves, and since then it is now re-rooting in leca. So this is how it's looking like right now. The stem is obviously a lot shorter because I had to cut off a lot of the stem that rotted as well along with the roots, and now it's just very close to the base of the leca, which I don't really mind. I don't really like it when my plants are kind of vining off too like wild and crazy like. So this is pretty cute right now. I mean, it's super small and it has no roots, so hopefully it can re-root for me. This plant I've literally rotted so many times. I don't know why it's so finicky. It gives me like pubic calyx vibes, which pubic calyx are so easy, but this Memoria has been giving me nothing but trouble. Hopefully I can save it because, you know, it does have sentimental value since I did get it from a friend and he was so generous enough to give me a cutting of his own plant, and I'm just constantly rotting it. So let's hope it recovers from that. The next plant I want to talk about is another Hoya. This Hoya used to be one of my favorites, and I'm so sad that I recently rotted this one and I didn't realize what was going on. So initially I thought that the yellowing leaves were due to too much light. So my grow lights are super strong, and I thought it was just getting not like sun stressed, but more like sun damaged, and that's why the leaves were getting discolored. But no, it was because all the roots were rotting, and I once again filled the water reservoir way too high, and that's the reason. This one is my Hoya Maniparensis, which is the triangular shaped Hoya. Kind of gives me like Ficus triangularis vibes, but obviously mine is really ugly right now because half of the leaves are yellow, and I don't really know if this is gonna survive. I cut my plant up to a bunch of different like little cuttings so that I can have a fuller, bushier pot, which is still my plan. Like I just don't like it when it looks really long and like scraggly. I like it when it's really bushy like this. So I don't mind having to cut it so many times to make so many different pieces, but they were all rooting really well except for that one time when I filled the water reservoir too high and it rotted everything. So now it's currently rootless, like a lot of my plants right now, all here, but I'm hopeful because this one never really had much trouble rooting for me. Even when I just stuck it directly into soil, it doesn't rot that easily. So that's why I'm so surprised that this one actually gave me trouble. At least with my Memoria, it actually just rotted so many times that I'm like, okay, what is new now? But this Manipurensis is the first time that it actually rotted on me, and I'm not really too sure why. So those were the 4 plants that I'm currently struggling with due to root rot, and I'm trying to battle this. Hopefully not a losing battle, because I really like these plants and I hope I don't have to replace them. But I tend to kind of make a judgment based on whether I want to rehab my plants in moss or in leca. If I, you know, eventually want to keep my plants in leca, I obviously want to be rooting them in leca so that I don't have to have that whole like transition shock. But, you know, I guess it really depends is what I'm trying to say. So I hope you guys will check your plants and, you know, check your roots whenever you see yellowing leaves, or you see your plant is just going limp despite you watering it, or you're just not providing the proper care. So it definitely really is important. I hope you guys found today's video helpful. Comment down below if you've recently rotted your own plant, because I clearly had to show mine and there's quite a lot of them. So thank you so much for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed. Give this video a thumbs up if you did, and I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye.